How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees, another daily episode for you, talking about Jason Dominguez. Now, Aaron Boone gave out some interesting information regarding his development here, and really kind of how his rehab is going following Tommy John surgery. And guys, the Martian is recovering at Martian pace. He is doing exceptionally well. Still an estimated timetable for return over the summer, but it's probably looking like the shorter end of that timetable and not the longer end. Obviously, he's not a pitcher, so it's a little bit of a different scenario. He's probably going to be able to hit a little bit during spring training. If I had to guess, just like Shohei Ohtani underwent Tommy John surgery toward the end of the season, he'll be able to hit next year, but won't be able to pitch. So the estimation is that Dominguez will be able to do something quite similar, but he won't be able to play defensively until probably July or August at the very earliest. And I think that's fine. The Yankees have no reason to rush Jason Dominguez back because they have Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo, and Aaron Judge manning the outfield positions and have a little bit of depth with Stanton and Trent Grisham. Obviously, you have guys like Oswaldo Cabrera who could help support, but I think the team is in a good spot to give Jason as much time as humanly possible to get right and prepare for the future. So, Ryan, before we dive into the good stuff, kind of what this means for the Yankees in terms of the benefits of getting Dominguez back late season, what he could do for us in terms of adding depth, especially to maybe cover up any inconsistencies or injuries that may occur. How you do today, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing great, and, when you look at the situation with the New York Yankees outfield, I've talked about this religiously, we've talked about this a ton. The Yankees are not going to need to rely on Jason Dominguez coming back to sport a major league outfield, which is huge. When I brought on Max Goodman, I kind of alluded to the fact that we actually have outfielders playing the outfield, and that's a nice change of pace. And I know that sounds like a low bar, but the Yankees set an extremely low bar for their outfield last year. I mean, if you look at their second most frequent left fielder, I believe it was Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, if not the most frequent left fielder they had. I think Pereira was like top 3 in terms of innings played in left field, and he only played, 2 months of the year, and let's be honest here, he just wasn't very good. Cabrera played a lot of left field, and he did not look like a major league caliber left fielder. Cordero played some left field. Jake Bauers played some left field. I mean, it was tough out there. Like, we got to be honest here. It was a tough situation last year. So, having Verdugo there, who, look, is he a league average player? Probably. Like, I don't think he's an elite player. I don't view him as, like, one of the best left fielders in baseball. I think he's a solid baseball player, and I think solid is a lot better than what we had last year. Trent Grisham, I'm actually really excited to see what Trent Grisham provides this year because he has some really good physical tools and he's an excellent defensive player. And having him play center field on occasions when Judge is either DHing or playing right field or has a day off, and Grisham is your emergency outfielder. God forbid something were to happen to Verdugo, Judge, Stanton, or Soto. You can just slot Grisham into that fold, and you have a really good defensive outfield and a guy who has won 2 Gold Gloves. Like, let's be real here. We were sitting here saying we'd take Kevin Kiermaier as a starting center fielder. What's the talent gap between Trent Grisham and Kevin Kiermaier in terms of production, all that stuff? They're very similar in terms of wins above replacement. So if we were willing to start Kevin Kiermaier, you've got to be more than willing to start Trent Grisham as well, especially considering right now, again, he is your 4th outfielder. He is the next man up. If somebody goes down, he enters the fold. And Jason Dominguez will certainly be kind of in that next man up role if somebody were to go down, when, of course, he's healthy. The Yankees are going to be careful with him. That's the right call. This is a guy who has an unbelievable amount of talent. There is a reason why the Yankees have essentially said, yeah, we're not trading this guy right now. Like, this guy is, I know that he's got a UCL tear, and, there are great pitchers available, but we're not going out and dealing Jason Dominguez for anybody, right? And I think that's the right call. If you look at his strikeout rate, how he was able to decrease it in the second half to just 17.2%, the increase in his hit tool, the ability to, generate more contact and generate consistent contact with great exit velocities and excellent swing decisions. He swings in zone frequently. He doesn't expand the strike zone. Every tool at the plate is great. Like, I really don't think he has a, massive overwhelming flaw. He does hit the ball into the ground a little bit too much. I think that's a fair criticism of his game, but, it's not to the point where it's going to limit his potential, and he also happens to be extremely fast, so it's not like, when he hits a ground ball the other way, he's not going to be able to beat it out. He still has an extremely high line drive rate. In a sense, he kind of has, and I'm not trying to make the comparison to say this is the type of hitter he is, or this is the type of hitter he'll become, but he kind of has that Juan Soto, low launch angle kind of profile with great raw power and great plate discipline. Again, I think Juan Soto was a clearly better offensive prospect. I know he wasn't ranked in the top 10 or top 20 when he was a prospect, but I just think that's because we were very behind on data and don't have a lot of access to lower level minor league stuff. But, if you look at just the swing decisions, the power, the advanced feel for the strike zone, all that stuff, it's excellent. And, when he does come back, he'll be a huge force for this lineup. As Aaron Boone kind of pointed out, he'll be a shot in the arm for this team when he comes back. And that's exactly what he is. He is a dynamic base runner. He is, you know what? I'm going to just say he's a playmaker, right? Like, that's what he is. He makes plays. He goes out and he steals bases. He pushes the envelope. He'll jump on a pitcher if they throw something in zone. But if they don't give him anything to work with, he's not going to force situation. He's not going to just get, antsy and start swinging at everything. So, I think this is a very mature hitter for his age with excellent skills. And Alex, I'd be shocked if he wasn't a force in this lineup at some point in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you kind of said it there with Juan Soto. There's a big difference between the two, obviously. One of them was producing elite numbers at 19 years old in the MLB. The other is 20 years old who, got a taste of MLB action. And for what it's worth, in those 8 games, 4 homers, 10 RBIs, and not to mention a home run off of Justin Verlander. So he showed a little bit of why we've been so excited, why people have called him the Martian, why people have labeled him as the best prospect we've had in a long time. As you said, he's a playmaker, man. He can run the bases well. He's got really solid athleticism. He's a big boy. He's got elite plate discipline in some respects. I think that more reps against better pitching, he's going to start to acclimate very quickly. That's kind of what we've seen from Jason Dominguez, though. Every time he gets to another level, he quickly grasps it. He quickly gets involved and quickly starts to figure out exactly, what his weaknesses are and how to address them. And he doesn't have many weaknesses. That's why we're so excited about him. We talk about Spencer Jones, guys. Like we've done multiple episodes over the last couple of days. The Yankees refuse to trade Spencer Jones. And keep in mind, Spencer Jones, while we love him, is 2 years older than Jason Dominguez and hasn't hit a home run off of Justin Verlander, and the Yankees refuse to trade Spencer Jones. Just think about what they think about Jason Dominguez. If they're so high on Jones and how his upside and the level of talent that he has, just think about what they think of Dominguez. 2 years younger. He's shown what he can do at the MLB level against elite level pitching, and not to mention in Houston, not just against Verlander, in Houston. The Yankees struggle to play in Houston. They struggle to play against elite level pitching, and he went in there and kicked ass. And the Yankees, they're probably thinking to themselves like, oh shit, oh crap, we got something special here, guys. We got something that could change the future of this organization. Again, I'm going to say this. I'm not guaranteeing he's going to be great. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star ever. What I am saying is he has the tools, and we've seen glimpses of it, flashes of it at the MLB level of him doing it. That's a big difference. That's a big variable to lean on. Tommy John surgery, if it was going to happen, this was the perfect time for it to happen. The Yankees don't need him right now. They can give him all the time he needs to recover, and he'll have gotten this big injury theoretically out of the way. So, hopefully he can maintain this health for the future. It doesn't, deteriorate anything long term. However, Ryan, I do want to say this. Right now, I'm leaning towards Spencer Jones playing center field. We said it yesterday in the Baby Bombers podcast talking about the prospects. I do believe Spencer Jones is a better fit for center field. The arm talent is better. His speed is better. His athletic profile is a little bit better. Dominguez is a little bit shorter, a little bit more stocky. I think Jones can cover more ground. He's been studying Kevin Kiermaier, as you kind of referenced. This is a guy who's training to be a center fielder. The fact that he is watching Kevin Kiermaier film on the accord of the Yankees having him do it says everything we need to know about what they plan to do with him, right? If they're having him watching Kevin Kiermaier, they expect him to be a center fielder, guys. The writing's on the wall. We're reading the tea leaves. That's what it says. For Dominguez, though, left field makes the most sense. However, what do you do with Judge and Giancarlo Stanton? Because, Judge, I think, ideally, I don't exactly know how they kind of utilize Soto and Judge as a combination if they have Jones and Dominguez. Maybe they just platoon those guys. They, rotate the DH spot. Maybe Giancarlo Stanton is kind of left out of the equation if Stanton has a bad year, by the way, Ryan. I want to get your take on this. I think that we may end up just either benching him or cutting him. Because if he has a third consecutive bad season and the Yankees are sitting here we need to give Jones and Dominguez more opportunities, I think they would rather go in that direction than just let Stanton rot. You know what I mean? Or just be a liability in this lineup. I think he has one more year to get it right. I think the Yankees would rather just either they'll try to make a deal where they offload his salary, or they're just going to eat the money and just go with the youngsters because the opportunity cost there is significant. You're going to go with the liability that you're paying a lot, or you're going to steal reps from youngsters who can make a significant impact on your team long term and get the experience they need now to be elite. So what is your opinion on that? Because there is a lot of names, there's a lot of mouths to feed in the outfield next year, based on the guys we have under contract. And assuming we bring back Soto, how does that kind of look for you?
Yeah, so a couple of things I want to hit on. Number one, Spencer Jones must remain in center field. I see a lot of people saying, move him to first base, do this and that. Absolutely not. Look, I'm not saying that I'm a know-it-all, but I will shave my head bald if the Yankees move Spencer Jones to first base, barring an injury, before he makes it to the major leagues. Like, maybe when he's like 30, they move him to like first base. He's a big guy, maybe he slows down. I don't know. But I will shave my head bald, and I clean bald, completely bald, oil that thing up, shiny, everything. If he never plays center field at the major league, or doesn't start out at the major league level as a center fielder, and plays first base, like that would be, I just don't see that happening. But obviously he's a ridiculously talented defender. As it pertains to Jason Dominguez, I think he works for a corner outfield spot. This is a small sample size, of course, but it's still ridiculous. He averaged 91.7 miles per hour on his throws. He tore his throwing elbow. Like, he tore the UCL in his right arm. He throws with his right arm. Think about that. He's averaging 91.7 miles per hour on throws with a torn UCL. I know, I saw some people saying, like, oh, what if he tore it beforehand? We knew his elbow was bothering him before that. Reports came out that he had some elbow discomfort before he officially got scratched from the lineup. That meant he was dealing with something, and most likely a torn UCL or something of the sort, while just throwing the crap out of the baseball. In fact, in the last game he played before tearing his UCL, last game he played at the major league level, I think it was September 8th, he threw a baseball 93 miles an hour. His UCL was likely torn by that point. Alex, I just want you to comprehend the idea of having a torn UCL and throwing a baseball 93 miles an hour from the outfield. That's ridiculous. He would profile extremely well for them. He's got good wheels. I think he'll figure out left field, even though it's very tough to play left field at Yankee Stadium, but if he's a below average defensive left fielder, I don't really care because the bat is that good. And then the outfield, kind of the glut of outfielders they have. I don't want to sound pessimistic on Giancarlo Stanton, but every projection system that picks the Yankees to win the AL East does not foresee Giancarlo Stanton popping off. They foresee him being like a one-WAR player, which, again, is it better than what he did last year? Yeah, that would be a 1.8 WAR improvement. That's not bad, but one WAR is not cutting it, right? Like, I don't think you can roster that over playing Dominguez every day and having the DH spot and saying, all right, we'll sign Juan Soto. Him and Judge will split time in right field and DH, or you could have, you could do a lot of different things with your DH spot and kind of have Dominguez, Judge, Soto, or Dominguez, Jones, Soto, or, if Ben Rice gets involved in the mix, you want to DH him a little bit. Maybe Augustin Ramirez emerges as a catching guy, and you slot Wells and Ramirez kind of playing some DH, or you just have a rotating door at DH. I think the DH spot being anchored down for the Yankees has cost them a lot over the years. I'm not saying Stanton, being acquired is a detriment for the New York Yankees. He was an MVP. Like, you had to say yes to that deal. It was Starling, Castro, and some nobodies. And that's no disrespect to those prospects, but they never amounted to anything, and they were never going to amount to anything. For a guy who's one of the best hitters in baseball and had some big hits in the postseason, had some big years with the Bronx Bombers, but I just think we're past that point. Now, I hope he proves me wrong. I hope Giancarlo Stanton has, a 135 WRC plus, puts up a year close to his 2021 season, and you and I are sitting here, Alex, and saying they have an abundance of outfield talent, and we're like, screw it. Can we trade Spencer Jones for, like, one of the best pitchers in baseball or some situation like that? Or, are we going to slot one of these guys for first base? There is nothing wrong with having a lot of really good players. You can never have too many good players. The Yankees are an extremely injury-prone team. Imagine looking at last year's roster and saying, oh yeah, we're going to have Jake Bauers playing left field by April. I don't think either of us foresee that. And left field was not a good situation for them, but we still felt as if it could be enough where you had outfielders playing the outfield. That bar was gone very quickly. So, I just think it's really important for us to understand that, projections don't think the Yankees will be good because Giancarlo Stanton is going to pop off. They think they're going to be good because other guys are going to perform, and that Stanton will be just below average instead of terrible. You know what I mean? And I again, it's a pessimistic view. I get it. But how many 34-year-olds turn it around? How many 34-year-olds get healthier? How many 34-year-olds play more? Figure it out, I hope he's an exception, and let's be real, Giancarlo Stanton is an expert at being an anomaly. There is nobody who will ever be like him in the history of the sport of baseball. There will never be anybody who could just throw their hands out at the ball and hit it 500 feet and win an MVP, right? Like, his swing is unorthodox, his power is unmatched, and his swing is kind of hard to repeat. Can he, defy logic and defy Father Time? Who knows? But it doesn't look good for him right now, is all I'm saying, and it looks a lot better for a lot of these young players on this team.
I think there's two things I want to hit on, one of which was a really, really good point. The first one I want to say is that Stanton did drop a lot of weight. So they're working diligently to try and improve his stamina and overall longevity. And I think that's a big step in the right direction. I don't know if it'll actually will reap the rewards of that because of his age. But we know he's working hard to get into the right shape. The second thing is, you're right. The Yankees are traditionally a very injury-prone team. Now they have Verdugo and Soto, two of the most durable outfielders we've had in a very long time. I mean, Soto is probably the most durable player in the game when it comes to just how frequently he plays, knock on wood a billion times. And Judge is, for the most part, durable. Freak accident last year knocked him off his horse, but, for the most part, he's pretty good in terms of staying healthy, and at least pushing through pain and playing at a high level despite that. So when you think about what the Yankees have compared to last year, they have three pretty durable players. One of them is played all 162 games last season in Soto. And I think Verdugo played, 156 or something like that, around that range. So, I'm not anticipating like a significant amount of injuries, again, knock on wood, but it's never a bad thing to have good insurance, right? Spencer Jones is a really good insurance policy. If Stanton's not going to play that many innings in the outfield, maybe 300 maximum. But I do think if Jones does well in Double-A and Jones does well in Triple-A, and then when he gets there, he's going to be the first man called up if Dominguez isn't ready to come back yet. I know they have Everson Pereira. Maybe he gets some chances. Maybe he's the first option. But if they're looking for an instant offensive guy who's going to really produce in terms of home runs, Spencer Jones is probably going to be the perfect fit for them in terms of instant impact in that regard. So we'll see what happens, guys. But Dominguez is making great progress, was the whole point of this episode. Kind of went on a little tailspin there into other portions of the outfield. But I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation as always. Make sure to like and subscribe down below in the YouTube comments. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.